Recently, I dyed my hair from it being really, really bleach blonde to really, really, not really, dark. And prior to that, I had really, really long blonde hair. In that era, I found it really simple to pair masculine clothing and still feel feminine because I had long blonde hair. When I initially cut my hair from it being really long to really short, right, the initial chop, I was able to explore my masculine side more and kind of be in an era where I had never truly explored because I'd always kind of had long blonde hair and it always looked very feminine. And for whatever reason, shorter hair made me feel and I think look a little bit more masculine. And that's kind of when I realized and noticed the differences between having long hair and wearing masculine clothing than having short hair and wearing masculine clothing. I feel like it reads totally different. And it had me thinking, like, how much hair can affect what femininity and masculinity is. Do you know what I mean? Now, this brings us to having short hair that's really blonde. Okay, I'm getting it bleached every few weeks, which the upkeep was absolutely insane. Getting it bleached that often was A, incredibly expensive, B, incredibly time consuming, C, 3, I don't know where we are. I felt like sitting in a chair for nearly 8 hours at a time made me feel like I was going to have a panic attack. One more partial foil and I'm going to just book it. And as this short blonde hair grew, it was so fun. I loved the look of having kind of these wispy fun pieces that were bright blonde in the summertime, having a swimsuit on, having like little feminine outfits on. And for whatever reason, I found that having the blonde hair with the little wispy pieces made me feel feminine. Now this brings us to having short blonde hair with tattoos. I personally don't think tattoos are inherently masculine. I feel like now that I have a couple tattoos, I can see why some styles of tattoos can look a little bit more masculine on a feminine body as opposed to fine lines per se on a feminine body, right? I think fine line might read a little bit more feminine, but at the same time, I dated somebody who had a lot of tattoos and I didn't think that they looked more feminine or more masculine. I just thought it was hot. I think being the anxious person that I am and knowing my body and knowing kind of my style and who I am and what I like to wear and what I don't like to wear, having tattoos with the short blonde hair, I felt like I had this masculine energy with this feminine energy paired side by side. Now, let me explain. Because on me, I felt like the tattoos made me look a little bit more masculine. And then I also had short blonde hair. I liked that balanced. I liked the juxtaposition between cute blonde bob with tattoos. You're like, wait a second. I'm kind of confused here because, you know, some of this feels masculine, some of this feels feminine, but she's got a face of makeup, but she's got some tattoos, but she's got short blonde hair. You know, like there is like a fun balance happening. And I loved that. I wanted the feminine and masculine to exist harmoniously. And for both feminine and masculine energy to exist equally, I felt because I was perceiving myself as when I saw my arms and saw my tattoos as more masculine, I wanted to then dive into the feminine side and explore more feminine options to essentially cultivate that feeling in my body, in how I perceive myself, and how I perceived what I was giving off. Finally, this brings us to having short hair that is dark with tattoos. Once this was finalized and I had dark hair and I accepted the fact that my hair was dark and I looked in the mirror with how I was styling my outfits and how I was picking outfits, I then was like, oh, okay, well, now I feel like there is zero harmony here. Now I feel like this all just reads masculine, right? With the things that are on my body and the things that I I can control, but I mean, the things that are on my body, right? My face, my hair, my tattoos. Okay, so dark hair paired with dark tattoos and masculine outfits. I mean, you know what I mean? Like I had masculine outfits here and there, but this made me realize, like, having this shorter dark hair, which, look, it's growing out. It's getting longer. This is already sitting at my shoulders. I had a moment the other day where I was filming and then I was like, nope, I'm cutting it. And then I was like, wait, I worked so hard to get to this point. But I do love a good neck exposure, I realized. I love my neck peeking through. Like when I had short hair and I could see some neck, I was like, what we got going on here? I like it. I like a little bit of neck showing. If somebody were to be like, hey, what is one thing you love about yourself? And what thing would you not change? I'd probably say my neck. What's your favorite body part on yourself? You know, quality, feature. Some would think I would say eyes. Wrong. Smile? Absolutely not. It's okay to say you like your neck, you know? Nobody's going to fault you for that. You're not in trouble. It's all good. And the one thing I do like about it, there's this one freckle on the front. I think that's why I like it. Obviously, as you'd expect, my style has shifted over the years, as anyone's would. But I also feel like all of these thoughts have been magnified in a certain way because I analyze myself on a daily basis, right? Like I'm seeing myself to an area, to a scale to which I don't think is natural, obviously, or normal. I don't think I would even be having these thoughts or these connections or realizations if I didn't film myself for my job. I should be out in a farm in the middle of nowhere, foraging for berries, and stumble across a stream, a pond, bend down, and that's what I look like? Wow. That's a nice looking neck. If I ever do get on Hinge, qualities, has nice neck. Looking for, you don't have to have a nice neck. I mean, actually you might. I like a nice neck. All that to say, I don't think that staring at yourself and analyzing yourself to this degree is healthy long-term whatsoever. You might think otherwise. You might think, hey, Connie, I have no problem staring at myself and editing myself. Amazing. Personally, I don't know. I also think it's just unnatural to be staring at yourself and analyzing yourself to the degree that we do on social media today. I, for one, have realized through all of these thoughts that I like a balance. And yes, I am a Libra. We know this to be true. Libras love balance. I like when the feminine and masculine exist in one space. And it's not just, you know, all feminine, all masculine. I just think too much of one thing is never that exciting. It's going to get boring. You want a variation, a variety of things to exist at the same time. Take men having painted nails, for example, right? If a man has painted nails, I mean, girls think that's hot, right? Like, it's like, oh my gosh, he's a boy and he has painted nails. Ooh. But if I was sitting right here and if me, Connie, had painted nails, it would not give the same energy at all. And I've actually discussed this. I've had a conversation about this. I posted a video like probably around 2020 and I was like, if I had painted nails, I want it to give the same energy as when Shawn Mendes shows up to the Met Gala and has painted nails. People think it's cool. People think it's unique. People think it's different. It's not going to be the same energy as when a girl paints her nails. You know what I mean? You have to know what I mean. I've seen many masculine presenting people out there who have painted nails, and I think that it looks great. I think it's a really nice energy. Me personally, can't quite pull it off. Don't know what it is. These are the things that I learned about myself. I think self-exploration and self-expression is so exciting, and this all just comes down to it, you know? This is all the conversation is about, is like how we view ourselves and how we like to express ourselves, and the connections I've made during my process of self-exploration and expression. Natural evolution is going to occur whether you want it to or not. Like, as you age, as you grow, your style's going to shift, your taste is going to shift. I mean, literally what? Isn't it your taste buds shift every 8 years, right? Like, say you hated mushrooms 8 years ago, give it a go now. You might like them. Don't knock it till you try it. I personally have tried that and it doesn't work. I don't like mushrooms, and I've tried to like them and I just don't. I just watched Mickey 17 the other day with my friend Julia, which, by the way, incredible film. I loved it. I know it's got mixed reviews. I know people have their own opinions on it. I, for one, I liked it. I think Robert Pattinson did a phenomenal job, and honestly, not what I expected at all. And also, not a movie that I would think I would like to watch in the slightest. Not even a little bit, just in case. Be safe and skip a little bit. But as I was thinking about watching this movie and talking to Julia about it, I found it really interesting because we both were like, dude, I loved Mickey 18. I loved his energy. I loved that he was just like kind of like snappy and rude but also like confident, and he just had this thing about him. He had this wit to him, I guess. When we were talking about it, I was like, oh, I loved his character. I loved Mickey 18. I feel like I'd want to have certain characteristics of Mickey 18. I'd want to like be that way a little bit more. And then she was like, well, if a woman was more like Mickey 18, it could be classified as her being a bitch. You know? Like kind of speaking her mind or saying what she wants to say or being snappy per se, or being unfiltered, you know? Like a lot of times when that is the case and women do behave in that way or do express themselves in that way, it is generally classified as bitch behavior. It's not like she knows herself and she's able to speak her mind, and like I have a lot of respect for her. You know, in the way that I'm like, yeah, I'd like respect for Mickey 18. I liked his character. I don't know if that would be read the same way if Mickey 18 was a woman. And I feel like that's so interesting to me because I, for one, I grew up in a Christian household. I grew up going to church. I grew up, you know, religious, and I grew up with the kind of like idea and mentality that women are like not supposed to speak their minds to the level in which men do. Like it was a lot of like, you know, women are more submissive and quiet and listen to the man of the household. And I find myself still kind of like not being as outspoken as I'd like to be, because I think there is some kind of underlying subconscious way of thinking and behaving that is ingrained in me to a certain degree because of the way that I was raised. And you know, I take it for what it is, and I'm in therapy, and so I work through a lot of these things, but at the same time, that was an interesting kind of topic of conversation, because why is it that if a man does it one way, the world and other people might categorize it as one thing versus another? You know, like the energy is not the same. We don't carry the same energy from masculine to feminine. I also think it's hard to like be conscious and aware of it. And I think it can be difficult to catch it at all. Like I even feel like I have a lot of breaking down to do over my like subconscious patterns in the way that I was raised, in the way that I kind of carry myself today. All this to say, do I feel like femininity and masculinity is backwards? A little bit. But I like this discussion. I like this conversation. I like how it makes me more aware of the way that I think about myself. And I also like the way that it makes me want to adjust and shift that. Curious to hear what you think, though. And I'm curious to know if you have the same kind of thought process on it, where maybe your perception of yourself and how you dress and how you act and how you look at yourself and understand yourself could be different than how you think of other people. Oh, also last thing. You have no idea how happy it made me to be able to see all your favorite fruits, because you came from Instagram and you commented on here, and I feel like we're building this fun little community, and it's so nice to be able to kind of have like a place to be able to talk to you and to have conversation, and not just like, you know, it's like you're on the internet. It almost feels like this like, who has the coolest, hottest outfit? Who has the coolest, hottest thing? Who has the coolest, hottest skin? And I'm like, I got a brain. And I got a yapper on me. So pair those two things together, and now we have this. And the end of the video has now been pushed back for the last 10 minutes, but I don't care. Okay. Until next time. Love ya. Bye.